Shahnameh, The Tale of Zal, Part 5, The Thrilling Conclusion. Salam be hamegi. Welcome to part 5 of our Tale of Zal with Dr. Sahba Shayani. Salam, Sahba Jan.
Salam, Leyla Jan. Great to be back again.
Yes, and today we are revealing the thrilling conclusion of this part of the story. Of course, it's a small part of the Shahnameh tale, but what are we going to be hearing about today?
So we left off with Zal having essentially listened to his guardian for the past, many years, Seymour, the great Seymour, and deciding to give his father, Sam, his biological father, Sam, a second chance, essentially, right? Now that he's come back asking for forgiveness and realizing the mistakes that he's made in the past. So Zal, under the guidance of Seymour, decides, okay, I will give this a shot. And he descends, Seymour takes him down the mountain and gives him to Sam. And Sam bows before Seymour in thanks and looks upon Zal and breaks into tears because of how much he's grown and what a handsome young man he has become. And then we start the rest of the tale, essentially.
A handsome young man, albeit with white hair still.
White
right?
hair, yes, exactly, with white hair, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So actually, I'll read a little description of the Zal here for you. So when Sam sees him, he says, Ferdowsi writes, Baru bazuy shir o khurshid ruy, dil pahlavan dast shamshir juy. Yeah. So Baru, bazuy shir o khurshid ruy. Upon him, upon Zal, he sees the arms. Bazu. This is a word we still use for your forearm, bazu. The forearms of a lion, va khurshid ruy, and the face of a sun. This is what I love about the Shahnameh, is that it's written in the 11th century, but we can still read it and understand it so easily.
It's wild, yeah.
All of these words are words we still use in this day. In this line, we have bazu, shir, khorshid, ruy. All 4 words that we still use on a daily basis in Persian.
Right. But do you remember when you first started reading it, was it challenging for you to understand it? Like, have you gotten better and better?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's a thing. It's a text that the more you work with it, because you get used to the rhythm, you get used to the syntax, the format of it, and things start to make more sense to you. Yes.
It's very similar to reading Shakespeare for us now. It's like it's the same words. They're just put together in a very different way. And sometimes it takes a while before you can like unlock that understanding.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting about it too is that with Shakespeare's much, or at least, 400 years, or later.
It's pretty new.
It's
right.
It's newer,
Yeah.
Whereas the Shahnameh is much older and you can still read it and understand it. Yeah. This is the beauty of Persian, is that it really hasn't changed much since the inception of New Persian in the 8th, 9th century. Yeah. So, Dil Pahlavan Dast Shamshir Ju. He sees within him. So he sees within him in Zal the arms of a lion, the face of the sun, Dil Pahlavan, the heart of a paladin, of a hero, and Dast Shamshir Ju, and a sword-seeking hand, meaning that he's a good warrior also. Right? سیاهش مژه دیده ها قیرگون چو با 100 لب و رخ همانند خون. So سیاهش مژه, his eyelashes, his مژهs are
black.
دیده ها قیرگون, his eyes, دیده is eyes, yeah, like coming from دیدن. دیده ها قیرگون, and his eyes pitch black again, right? So his lashes are black, his eyes are black. چو با 100 لب و رخ همانند خون. Like بسد is another word for marjan, coral, which is a common trope also when you want to talk about the color red in Persian literature. So like coral, his lips, and rukh, and his face. Yeah, so this refers to the fact that he's so fair that it's like red almost, his face and his lips. So you see the image that they're drawing too. Eyelashes, eyes, pitch black, face, rosy red, and hair white as snow, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah. دل سام شد چون بهشت برین بران پاک فرزند کرد آفرین. His heart became like the heavens, and he said آفرین. He said he gave his praise to his child. Yeah. تنش را یکی پهلوانی قبای بپوشید و ز کوه بگذارد پای. So upon, because remember that Zal at this point has been reared by Seymour, he's like an animal, he's naked fully, right?
Right.
So تنش را یکی پهلوانی قبای, his body he covers with a qaba, which is essentially like a cloak or a tunic that is appropriate for a paladin, for a hero, and he brings him down from the mountains. Yeah. And when the army sees him, they all cheer and raise their hands in praise. And they say, Afarin, wow. And they take him towards civilization little by little,
So
essentially.
really a hero's welcome. Truly a
Yes.
hero's welcome.
Truly a hero's welcome.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we are told that the first thing that happens is that news of Zal's arrival to civilization and to basically his father's embrace reaches Manuche Shah, the king of kings. And here is the beautiful scene that really consecrates this important relationship between these kingships. It's important to note that you have the Shahanshah, Manuche Shah, and then you have Sam, who's the king of Zabulistan. He's a vassal king of the Shahanshah, but they also have this very close relationship with one another, right? It's actually because of these vassal kingdoms that the king is able to rule. It's like a symbiotic relationship in a way. So the news of it immediately reaches Manuche Shah, and Manuche Shah sends his own son to go to Zal and to give him praise and thanks, and then he himself follows, and they receive Zal, and they take him back to Zabulistan together. Yeah. They take him back to Zabulistan together, and there he is celebrated and praised. Yeah. So there he is celebrated and praised. And then Psalm is curious to see, what does Zal's future and fortune look like? So this is very important in Persian literature, is that the kings will always turn to their astrologers and say, okay, this character, this person, this son, this child of mine, look up his astrology and see. It's fun.
Wow.
It's fascinating because nowadays astrology's become big, in our world, modern Western world. But it's been a part of our tradition since, like the ancient Greeks, for thousands of years. And anytime, like our Indian neighbors too, the same. If anytime they wanted to chart out the blessedness of something, or whether it's going to be a good idea to do something, to have a wedding, to go to war, any of these things, what day would be perfect for this? They would turn to the astrologers, and the astrologers would cast out the map of of that day and say, okay, this is fortuitous, it's not, do it, don't do it. Where's the moon going to be on this day? Where will Saturn be on this day? And which house, and all of these things. So he turns to his astrologers and says, is this fortuitous? Is this going to be good? So Ferdowsi says, ستاره شناسان همان در زمان ز اختر گرفتند یک یک نشان. ستاره شناسان, the astrologers, همان در زمان, in that moment, ز اختر, اختر is the Arabic word for star, from the stars, گرفتند یک یک نشان, they took one by one signs, as in they looked to them. بگفتند با شاه دیهیم دار, they told the king, the crown holding king, که شادان بزی تا بود روزگار, that live in happiness as long as the world continues.
Wow.
که او پهلوانی بود نامدار, that he is going to be a hero renowned amongst the world, نامدار. سرافراز و هوشیار و گرد و سوار, he is going to be noble or renowned, سرافراز, هوشیار, he's going to be wise, aware. He's going to be gord, he's going to be a warrior. Vas savar, and again, like a warrior in a way. Savar literally means the word we use for today, riding. Yeah, so it means he'll be a rider, he'll be seated upon a horse. which is a symbol of, again, his ability to fight in battle and be a paladin. چو بشنید شاه این سخن شاد شد. So when the king heard these words, شاد شد. He became happy. دل پهلوان از غم آزاد شد. And the heart of the paladin, of the hero, meaning Sam in this case, از غم, from sorrow, آزاد شد, was freed. یکی خلعتی ساخت شاه زمین که کردند هر کس بر او آفرین. So he created an enclave where he was seated, where everyone could come and give their praise. ز اسبان تازی به زرین ستام، ز شمشیر هندی به زرین نیام، ز دیبا و خز و ز یاقوت و زر، ز گستردنی های بسیار مر، غلامان رومی به دیبای روم، همه پیکر از گوهر و زر و بوم. So he's beginning to set up the castle for Zal, essentially. So he's adorning it with all kinds of things. ز اسبان تازیف, with Arabian horses, و زرین ستام, ز شمشیر هندی, the Hindu sword, meaning Indian sword, و زرین نیام. So notice all of the different elements that come from the surrounding regions to the neighboring regions. The Arabian horse, Indian sword, right? This shows you the connection that all of these, that this empire has with all of its neighboring empires. And I always highlight this as something that's very important for us to remember in today's world. You know, our relationship with our neighbors go back centuries and millennia. And, you know, this is very important to remember. These aren't new connections. These are ancient connections that unfortunately in the modern day have sometimes been forgotten, you know?
Well, I think they've been very purposely, we've purposely been divided for so long.
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah. And well, and also I think, you know, I think these things they go hand in hand. It's someone else's doing perhaps, but also our own fault for giving
Oh,
up.
absolutely. You're
You
right.
know?
You're right.
And often there's actually this beautiful article by a famous Iranian scholar talking about how suddenly now our gaze has, as of, you know, the 18th century, turned towards the West, and we've completely forgotten all of our neighbors with whom we've had this connection. And it's true for all of us. You know, it's not just the Iranians who've done this, but a lot of our varying neighbors have also done this. And it's important for us to reorient ourselves and to realize our relationship with our neighbors are ancient and that we share the same source with many of them, actually, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to go back to that, essentially.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What does the word zarin mean?
Zarin, oh, that's a great question. I like that you asked. Zarin yani tala'i.
Okay, like zarq و barq comes from that?
Zar, okay, so zar actually is the synonym for tala, actually.
Okay.
Zar is the Persian word for gold. Tala comes from Arabic, actually. The same way with, what do we call silver today?
نقره.
Noqre, afari, noqre. But noqre, the Persian word for noqre is actually seam. So seam, and then from these you get the names, the female names Simin and Zarin, silvern and golden, right?
Ah, okay.
So zar just means gold and zarin, golden.
Okay, wonderful.
So all of these things, Sam procures for Zal, and then he renews his pact and covenant with Manucher Shah, the king of kings, and he turns to Zal and says, okay, you have come home now. Zabulistan is your home. Welcome home to this gathering. We're glad to have you back. And Zal then turns to him and says, I forgive you for all that you have done, essentially. Wow. I forgive you for your mistakes, for being a bad father,
for leaving me to die.
For leaving me to die in the mountain. So he says, I forgive you for what you have done, but under one condition.
Ooh, okay.
And Psalm says, what? What is the condition? Anything, you name it. And Zal says, under the condition that should I seek something then from you in the future, you will never say no to me.
Ooh.
Yeah. that you will never say no to me. You can't deny me anything that I request of you. And
Wow.
Psalm says, fair enough, I give you that. I shan't deny you anything that you yearn for. And so Zal has returned magnanimously to Zabulistan, and he begins to reign alongside his father, and eventually becomes, once Psalm sits back, Zal takes over, essentially, and he becomes the great paladin and hero. But to leave you all on a cliffhanger, as I like to do,
What?
this what? That's our last section. But this promise that Zal makes Psalm make to him comes back very handy and as a very important part in what continues afterward and what leads to the essential birth and creation of the greatest hero of the Shahnameh, Rostam.
That is quite a cliffhanger. Okay. I guess we're gonna have to have Dr. Shayani back for another rendition because we cannot stop there. Okay, well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. That was a really good tale, the tale of Zal, and how he came back. And I think we
Yes,
can, like you said, we can take a lot of lessons from just the bit that we've learned. Is there anything
absolutely.
else that you want to point out about what we've learned so far?
I think, I think in all the lessons, we've really done a good job of capturing the essence of the story and the really important points, the facts that it brings out. One thing that I will leave you with is, again, reminding you that this is one of the um, most depicted stories of the Shahnameh. So keep an eye out if you're ever looking at Persian miniatures and stuff,
Mm,
or this scene where this giant bird is flying with a white-haired baby.
wow,
This is
yeah.
you'll see depicted quite often.
So did we say at this point he's 6 years old? Did I understand that right, or did I make that up?
No, no, no. At this point, when he returns to the kingdom, he's older. I mean, I don't have an age, but in my head, I imagine a youth. I mean, he is a youth. He's
Okay.
not a child. Yeah, he's a
Okay,
youth
so like maybe in his late teens or something.
in his teens. Yeah, definitely in his
Okay, got it.
late teens. Yeah,
That's what, yeah, of course, he's built like an elephant, not a
that's why
6-year-old.
he's like built. Yeah, exactly. He's like super ripped. Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
beetle. Right, right, right. Okay, good, good. And he's like learned how to talk and stuff from Seymour, is that right?
From Seymour. This is
Okay.
again the magic of it. Yeah, is that he's able to communicate because of Seymour.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's a great place to leave it off. And thank you so much for this series of lessons. It was really exciting.
my
I hope
pleasure.
that all the students can. So we have all this text that the students can look at
Yes,
and really try to go over everything that we've heard. Like Safa said, the more you listen to it, the more you can kind of understand it. And I'm looking forward to
absolutely.
doing that as well.
Yeah.
And then there's these keywords that I think you said you said like the coral. What is the word for coral?
In Persian, modern Persian, it's marjan. Marjan.
Marjan, but here in our poem.
Here it was bussad. It's
Okay,
bus in this
but I
text.
think that that's important because I think there are these key words. So like you said, like this is used often in this text
Yes.
to depict red, that color red. So
Yes.
then there's these keywords that you might not hear very often, but then once you hear it, you're like, okay, I understand what they're saying when they say this word. Was said, okay, got it. It's going to be red. It's going to depict a certain feeling or a certain
Yes.
symbolism. So then these are kind of the keys.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that there are these images that appear in Persian poetry throughout a variety of genres of Persian poetry that each represent the colors that are generally associated with some part of the human face,
Mm,
essentially, and what is considered beautiful, right? And so the
right,
cheeks are often, or the face, the cheeks are often compared to roses or coral in this case, because they're supposed to be rosy. The
right.
lips are always compared to like coral or carnelian often, or agate, the
Mm.
stone, aqiq, because they're supposed to be red. The eyes are always black. The lashes are always black. And in Zal's case, the hair is white and all of.
Right, exactly. But then once we figure those out, we see them over and over again and we can
Yes, it turns
kind
into a
of
trope.
exactly, exactly. So I'm looking forward to the next story that we do. Hopefully we'll see more of those in there and be able to understand it better. I think the more of these we do, the more we can understand. Another question I have is that if students want to kind of get a full context of the whole Shahnameh, do you
Yeah.
recommend, for example, reading the Dick Davis translation, or what do you
Absolutely.
recommend doing?
Absolutely. I think if you in English, I would recommend Dick Davis's translation of the Shahnameh.
Okay.
If you're a French reader, I would advise Jules Molle's translation of the Shahnameh, which is a much older
Oh, wow.
translation, but it's translated all into verse, into poetry. And
Okay. Have you read that yourself?
I've read parts of it. Yeah, I
Wow.
haven't.
Okay.
Yeah. But the in English, Dick Davis's is a great option. Another option, if you want with imagery, which is also a fun thing, is the illustrated version by Hamid Rahmanian. I actually have it back there. I should have brought it and showed. But
Yeah.
have you seen it
Oh, yeah,
yourself?
yeah, I have it.
Yeah,
Oh, of course.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
that, and I have this pop-up as well. It's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah. The pop-ups. Yeah. But the only thing with the Rahmanian book is that it's like part of the Shahnameh. It's not the whole thing.
Got it. Okay.
Whereas Dick Davis's is like a book that you sit down and read. This and that is it covers the entirety of the Shahnameh. Of course, it's parts of it are like taken out and parts of it aren't included because the Shahnameh itself, actually we should have mentioned this on the first day, but never too late. It is the longest text written by a single person.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
The longest poem written by a single poet, actually. So there
Wow.
are longer poems in which there have been multiple poets writing, but this is
Mhm.
the longest poem written by a single poet.
Wow.
So it's huge.
Okay.
So no translation is like, I don't think we have really a translation that's like the entire thing, but Dick Davis's is the closest there is to it.
And have you read all of the Persian?
I haven't read all of it.
Okay.
No, I've read parts of it. No, the Shahnameh is quite part. There's a lot of the depictions are of the wars and of the battles between the kings and stuff. And for me, that's not so interesting. For me, the parts of that are interesting are the human connections. And if you noticed, actually, the parts that I quote a lot, I caught myself doing this, but the parts that I quote a lot from the text are the parts where the people are speaking to each other. And I think
Interesting.
for me, that's the most interesting part is the human relationships in the text and the interaction. And my specialty, I mean, my research is on the role of women in classical Persian epic romances and
Right.
so that's what I focus on, is on the role of the women of the Shahnameh.
Right. Which you pointed out, we had that in part one. Women were very important and
Yes.
then became less so as it went on. But like you said, also the Seymour is not gendered, so we don't know if
No,
that's a
exactly.
female or a male character or both.
Yeah.
Binary on the binary.
Yeah.
Okay, well, wonderful. That was so good. And we're gonna link to all of these translations and books that we just mentioned on here so that people can get them and look at them. And yeah, of course, I have all of these versions except for the French one. So it's good to have. Well, Sahwajan, thank you so much. That was a really wonderful first Shahnameh that we did, and I hope that we do many more together.
Inshallah. Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Layla John, and for making this happen. It was really a pleasure to be on Chai and Conversation with you and to have however small it may be, a little role in this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Until that bad. Khuda Hafiz from Layla.
خدا نگهدار. قربونت.
خدا نگهدار.